Okay, so let's start. A very warm welcome to respected Dr. Kamlesh Kaur ma'am, distinguished guest speaker Dr. Pramod Kumar, faculty members of EVS department, and dear participants. I welcome you all on this Air Quality Index Calculation workshop organized by Earthcon Society, Department of EVS. Let's start this session with the blessings of Mata Sundari. I request everyone to please cover your head to take the blessings of Mata Sundari. Please cover your heads.
कर अपनी जीत करो ना डरो अरसों जब जाए लरो निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो देह शिवा बर मोहे है शुभ कर मन ते कब हो न डरो देह शिवा बर मोहे है शुभ कर मन ते कब हो न डरो हर सुख हो अपने ही मन को लालच हो गुण तो चरो जब आग की ओद निदान बने अत ही रण में तब जूझ मरो अत ही रण में तब जूझ मरो बोले सोने सच बोले सोने सच
Okay. Yes, just a moment. So, as we know that air pollution is not new thing for Delhi, and we all are facing the issues related to health caused by air pollutants, and we always keep checking the air quality index of Delhi, which is provided by CPCB. But today you will learn how this AQI, which is known as air quality index, can be calculated with the help of some device and formulas. Our guest speaker, Dr. Pramod Kumar, will teach you the whole calculation, how this AQI can be calculated. Now, I'd like to invite Jigyasa to take over this session. Jigyasa, over to you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to everyone. I would like to begin by introducing our speaker to you all. Dr. Pramod Kumar is an assistant professor in the environmental studies at the University of Delhi. He is working in the Environmental Studies Department in Deen Dayal Upadhyay College, University of Delhi. He has 3 years of experience in consultancy and 7 years of teaching experience in the area of environmental science. 3 years of work experience in consultancy and analytical lab allowed him a better understanding of the implications of environmental research and has inspired him to enhance the impact of his work by choosing interesting problems with clear applications. He was able to develop knowledge about preparation of EOI, tenders and proposals, project execution, client correspondence, preparation of reports and presentation, environmental monitoring, site survey, primary, secondary data collection, and many more such fields. Despite the effort involved in building a complete vertical application, the reward has been a deeper insight into the true requirements and an invaluable understanding of what problems most need to be solved. He plans to continue the strategy on his ongoing research. Besides, he has interest in environmental impact assessment, environmental management planning, environmental management system, remote sensing, and GIS, solid waste management. In his experience in university and consultancy and analytical lab, he found that in the knowledge of practical techniques about various projects related to environmental field and also understanding different areas of environment is very important and of utmost requirement. He believes that he would have beneficial effect on both in effectiveness and reliability, also overall satisfaction of the organization. Dr. Pramod is an assistant professor of EVS for more than 7 years of teaching experience and has published 10 research papers in international and national journals, including articles, conference, papers, and chapters in books. He performs basic job responsibility on teaching and research. Also, he is actively involved in doing academic administration and consulting works. He has completed several skill enhancement courses in diverse fields via teaching, psychology, and others offered through Coursera. We welcome you, sir.
Thanks a lot for the detailed introduction. First of all, I would like to thank the Mata Sundari College, Professor, the
Just a
principal of the
moment,
college.
Pramod, just a moment. Actually, our principal ma'am will join later. So before she join, I'd like to invite Dr. Kamlesh Kaur ma'am to welcome you first. Just a
Okay.
moment.
Very gracious.
Yes, Dr. Kamlesh Kaur ma'am is an associate professor of commerce department at Mata Sundari College for Women. And she is engaged with ArtsCon Society since January 2021 as a course coordinator of EVS department. And she is also the former presiding officer of Internal Complaints Committee. And at present, she is also the advisor of ICC. So now I'd like to invite Dr. Kamlesh Kaur ma'am to welcome our guest. Ma'am, over to you.
Very gracious and inclusive good afternoon. Very warm welcome and cordial welcome to our guest speaker, Dr. Pramod Kumar. And most welcome to all the students and my colleagues, those who have joined this event. Sir, today's problem is air pollution. And everywhere, not only in India, in other countries of the world, air is creating a lot of problem. And according to WHO, 9 out of 10 people are getting air which is pollutant. And it includes certain particles which are not good for our health. And it is must for the authorities to stop all this so that the human being can survive. And these pollutants, we have suffered a lot. We have suffered all these pandemic and last 2 years, which we haven't. It was only due to this dirty air. And today, our guest speaker, Dr. Pramod Kumar, is going to do this workshop for our students to teach them to calculate air quality index calculation. And welcome you, sir. I welcome you on the dais. The dais are yours.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot, ma'am,
Thank you,
for
sir.
welcoming, for such a nice introduction. Can I start my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Or should I wait
No, sir. You
No,
start.
you should start. I will stop sharing. You can share your slides. Okay,
Okay.
just a moment. Yeah, now you can start sharing your slide.
Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
So today we are here to just understand.
Dr. Pramod, can you please
Yes.
make it full screen? It's showing
Yes.
slide view.
Okay.
Just click the play button from starting slideshow.
This one. It's clear now.
There is an issue. You can reshare again and select the particular window in which your slide is there. Pramod,
Yes.
can I share your slide if you
I'm
want?
doing this. It's
Just a
visible
moment.
now.
It's visible, but it's having some issue. I want to share your slide. Just a moment. Just stop sharing your screen.
Okay. I think that software you might not be able to share, which I have prepared.
Okay, so do one thing. You just do the presentation by this view only because it is showing slide views.
It is showing slide view, but it in my screen it is just the entire thing.
It's okay. You may proceed. You may proceed.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, you may proceed.
So today we are here to know how this air quality index is calculated. As Kamlesh ma'am already said, ki air pollution is considered to be the major problem nowadays. Everywhere we find in the news, there are alerts. Whenever you wake up in the morning, there is an alert in your mobile ki air quality is poor. The value is also given and you should stay indoors to remain healthy. This is just the application which has nowadays being circulated in the mobile phones. So today will be the brief, the presentation layout. We will know about what is air quality and what all are the pollutants, the parameters which are being considered in order to calculate air quality index, and how the concentration of these pollutants are measured in the air, and how we can simply knowing the concentration of a particular pollutant, we can easily identify, we can calculate the exact value of the air quality index. This will be doing, we'll be preparing a software in the MS Excel. So what we need to know only the concentration, and based on that we can easily calculate the value. So starting with, as ma'am already said, ki air pollution, it is the silent killer. And according to the World Health Organization, around 7 million deaths are due to the exposure from both indoors and outdoor air pollution. Means if you are indoors, that doesn't mean that you are having that healthy air. Indoor air pollution is also a major air pollutant, which is also causing the deaths to the many people. But the proportion of the ambient air and the indoor, when we talk about the outdoor air, is more hazardous in comparison to the indoor air.
Sorry to disturb you, Pramod. Your
Yes.
slide is not changing.
It's not changing. Just a second.
There is some issue in sharing.
Sir,
Ma'am, you
so
can.
sorry to
I think
interrupt.
I'll stop sharing. You can. So last portion I'll do the thing. The when
Yeah.
there will be software.
Okay. Just a moment. I will share this thing. You
Okay.
can stop sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just a moment. I have to open your slide first. Is it showing full screen, girls? Ikisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
Pramod,
ma'am.
now you can start.
So that this we already discussed that today we are here to do an exercise in order to how we can calculate the air quality index of an urban area. So this we have already discussed. Now, please, second slide. Air pollution is the silent killer that we already discussed earlier. Now, when we talk about the estimates, globally ambient air pollution, it is responsible for causing 28% of the respiratory infections, 25% of the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease infections, and 17% of the ischemic heart diseases and strokes, whereas 16% lung cancer, according to the WHO study, which was carried out in the year 2018. Higher education study, global burden of diseases. There are several studies which are research is being carried out in order to find the exact linkages. And they have found that air pollution, it is the third highest cause of death among all health risks. There are several other risks which are involved. And just above the smoking in India, smoking is one of the major problem when we talk about the air pollution. So the data which is given is shown in the front, and also the survey of the World Health Organization about the 1,650 world cities, which was carried out. And in that, Delhi has come out to be the major city, worst polluted city among the other cities of the world, according to the State of Global Air report, which was done in the year 2019. Please, next slide. So now why we require healthy air. United Nations Human Rights Council has declared access to clean environment a fundamental right. Why we require air? An adult breathes 15,000 liters of air every day. So you can just think about the proportion of the volume of air which is going inside our lungs and when we are exhaling. So if the air which we are breathing is polluted, how much seriousness that is going to pose to a particular individual, not only to an individual, but also to the other living organisms which are there. For the best quality of life, the air we breathe must be pure, and it is the fundamental right. And United Nations Right Council has also declared. So as we composition of air, you already might be knowing 78% is the nitrogen, 21% is the oxygen, whereas carbon dioxide, argon, trace gases constituting the remaining 1% of the atmosphere. Please, next slide. Now, the exact terminology of the air quality. In a layman term, we can simply say it is the measure of pollutants which are present in the air. A description of the healthiness of the air. How healthy the air is means it is not going to pose any serious threat to the individuals. Because without air, you cannot survive. If you think of surviving without air, hardly you can survive for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But if the supply of the air is stopped, ultimately life will end. And air quality is a term which is constantly changing over time. It is not static, it is not stagnant, it is continuously changing over, and it is also one of the means of dispersion of gases, other pollutants in the air. And all of the various definitions which we see, they link and describe the relationship, various concentration of pollutants in the air with the health of the human being. In the subsequent slides, we will come to know which sections of the society are more vulnerable to the air. If the quality of the air is poor, the most serious consequences can be observed to which particular sections of the society, which particular individuals are going to get affected more. Please, next slide. See, air quality index, we majorly talk about aerosols. Aerosols, it is the suspension of solid or liquid particles in air. Whenever anything is burned, it releases particulate matter and accompanied with other compounds. So here you can see anthropogenic sources. Anthropogenic, generally these aerosols are emitted either naturally or by artificial, that is the man-made means. So naturally, like forest fires, volcanic eruptions, biological decay, these are certain phenomena by which these atmospheric aerosols are released into the atmosphere. Whereas when we talk about the man-made, that is the anthropogenic sources, these consist of mainly vehicular emissions, construction dust, and industries. There are several industries like thermal power plants, using coal, wood combustion, incineration. These are some of the sources, which are releasing these atmospheric aerosols into the atmosphere. So aerosols when we talk about their impacts, their impact is not only restricted to the individuals, other living organisms, whereas they do have an important role to play the causing the change in the climate that you might have studied for those greenhouse gases and all. Please, next slide. You can just see from the picture, this is the case of the recent example. If you see Australian bushfire, forest fire, Californian bushfire, whereas the left side picture indicates the aerosols being released from the industrial emissions. The huge quantity of smoke, huge quantity of dust is released into the atmosphere as a result of these anthropogenic, and the other one is of natural sources. Please, next slide. Now, what PM can do to you depend. The particulate matter, it has different sizes. It ranges from PM1, PM10, PM2.5. So the bigger size particles, in the nose we have got hairs. Nature self-cleansing mechanisms naturally operate. When we inhale the air, the bigger size particles, these are trapped in our nostrils, the hairs which are there. Whereas the bigger size particles, they remain to the upper respiratory tract. And these are removed through the expectoration and spit. Whereas the particles which are less than 10 micron and greater than the 1 micron size, they have the capability to reach the deeper, further deeper, like thorax and trachea. And the major problematic particles which are there, the particles which are known as fine particles or ultrafine particles, they have the capability to enter the deeper sections of our lungs, that is the alveoli, and they remain suspended there. So, and these require very slow mechanism. So the problem arises here. The fine particles, they are not cleaned very easily. Whereas the bigger size particles, there are several particulate mechanisms which take place, and these are removed through expectoration. These are removed through mucociliary actions. Whereas the particles which get settled into the deeper section, that is the alveoli, they pose a serious threat to the individuals. So we are more concerned about the PM2.5 and ultrafine particles. Please, next slide. This was an experiment which was done at the Lucknow, and they installed the artificial lungs, and just to have a clear picture of if the individual is inhaling the polluted air, what would be the effect. So this was done, and you can just see the artificial lungs which was installed in the Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, that is the capital city of Uttar Pradesh, and the result it was obtained. The color change was slightly visible, and this experiment had been an eye-opener for many individuals. They could easily see the results. Only when we talk about that this is causing an impact, that will not serve the purpose unless and until it is clear in front of us, which we can easily identify, yes, it is having a serious problem to the individuals. Please, next slide. This is the lung of an Dilhite, the person who died, and he was residing in a polluted area. When its lung was taken out, and you can clearly see the amount of dust which is settled, which is there in the lungs of that particular Dilhite individual. Please, next slide. Now, I said who are the most vulnerable section which are prone to this poor air quality. They can easily get the problem. Individuals with the heart-related diseases, having some historical background and all, individuals with lung-related diseases, and pregnant women, workers who are working outside, that is the ambient air environment, elderly people, and children under the age of 14 years. Elderly people and children, their immunity is still in the developing phase, whereas the older age people, their immunity has declined. So they are more prone, and athletes who are working outdoors. So it is advisable, if you are going outside for doing an exercise, you better should check initially, so that instead of doing any good to your health, you may be prone to some serious problems. Because when you do exercise, your heart rate is very high, and also continuously the more amount of air enters into your body, so you can inhale the polluted air. Please, next slide. So keeping in mind the harmful or the adverse impacts of this particulate pollution and the air pollution, this National Air Quality Index was introduced. And there are several terminologies, several names by which this is being addressed. India uses National Air Quality Index, Canada uses Air Quality Health Index, Singapore uses Pollutant Standard Index, whereas the Malaysia is taking it as a air pollution index. So there are, and also you might be knowing that several emergencies have also been declared in terms of air pollution. And in India, the same case was also reported in the year November 2019. In Delhi, we considered November as to be the devil November. The reason being, the first one is the winter condition, the calm conditions which are there in the atmosphere, fog is also there, plus the episodic events like Diwali, stubble burning, and other sources which are adding, aggravating to the problem, to the increase and elevated levels of pollution levels in the Delhi city. So this National Air Quality Index in India, it was launched on September 17, 2014, under the Swachh Bharat scheme by the Environment Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar. And in India, it takes into account 8 major pollutants, PM10, PM2.5, depending upon the diameter. There, as we already discussed, 10 micron meter is the diameter, PM10, 2.5. This is the cut diameter, which is known as the aerodynamic diameter, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. Please, next slide. So the air, this air quality index, it is a scale ranging from 0 to 500. And depending upon its value, you can easily say, you can draw conclusion. If the air quality index value is between 0 to 50, it is good. If it is between 51 to 100, it is satisfactory. And if it is 101 to 200, it's moderate. 201 to 300 is poor. And 301 to 400, very poor. And if it is greater than 401, it is severe. So the air quality index, in general terms, it is an index which is used by the government agencies to indicate how the air is polluted in the present time and how it is going to become in the near future. So this is a one number, one color, one code description for the common man to draw conclusion. No technical exercises involved. Simply seeing the value, they can judge whether the quality is poor, whether the quality is good, and accordingly they can plan their activities moving out and all. Please, next slide. Depending upon its value, good, it has very minimal impact. If the value is satisfactory, that is 51 to 100, minor breathing discomfort to sensitive people. Moderate means breathing discomfort to the people with lung diseases such as asthma. So if the poor, breathing discomfort to the people on prolonged exposure. The diagram which I showed, persons with the heart problems, persons with the lung diseases, this is all the sections. Most vulnerable sections are prone to more seriousness. There are several deaths which we have already seen in the previous slide. Very poor respiratory illness to the people on prolonged exposure. Effect may be more pronounced in people with lung and heart diseases. Severe means respiratory effects on healthy people and serious health impacts on the people with lung as well as heart diseases. Please, next slide. So the major air pollutants we already discussed in the earlier slide. 8 major pollutants we are taking into account in case of India, whereas EPA, Environment Protection Agency, it takes into account 5 major pollutants: PM, CO, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and ground level ozone. So these are the parameters which we are going to take in order to calculate the air quality index of an urban location, which we have identified as the Janakpuri, one of the location which we have chosen. Please, next slide. This is the air quality index of the Delhi. You can see several regions, but we are pointing out here 25th February. Day before yesterday, you can simply see the value 286, poor, and the prominent pollutant is PM 2.5. Major pollutant, these fine particles, as I already discussed, they have the capability to enter the deeper, and they remain there, causing, because the cleansing mechanisms, the particular cleansing mechanisms are very slow in case of these final particles. And you can simply judge and you can also draw conclusion by simply looking at the value. Delhi, Faridabad, even Ghaziabad it was worse among the 5 sites whose AQI was calculated. Next slide. This is the air quality index of the entire month. The value is less in, it is there in good on 19th October. The reason was that there was a heavy rain on that particular date, which resulted in the lower concentration of this particulate. So ideally, particulate PM particulate matter which is there, the mechanism, if there is a rain, no doubt you are going to have the lesser value of air quality index. If there is no rain, because these pollutants, they settle down along with the rain and the concentrations are lowered. Please, next slide. So how we can calculate this air quality index value? The formula, this is given by the EPA. IP is the air quality index of a particular pollutant which you want to calculate. I high is the air quality value corresponding to the breakpoint concentration, whereas I low is the air quality index value which is lower corresponding to the breakpoint concentration of the lower value. BPI is the breakpoint concentration table which we have to see, that's there in the next slide. Please, ma'am. Next slide. This one. Suppose if you want to see the concentration you have measured, that is 80 microgram per meter cube for PM 2.5. So here the value which we need to take is that is 80. 80 is lying between 65.5 to 150.4. PM to 65.5 to 150.4. The major concentration of PM 2.5 is if it is 80. So this value, this is the BP high is 150.4 and BP low is 65.5. Whereas the corresponding AQI value, that is the I high, towards the right hand side, it is 200 and I low is the 151. This one. Likewise, if the measured concentration you have, accordingly you can just check and you can put in the formula and you can get the value of the air quality index. So this is the breakpoint concentration of various pollutants which have been prepared. Please, next slide. Now, how this pollutant concentration is measured? There are several instruments which are used for calculating the concentration. Earlier, high volume sampler and respirable dust samplers, these were being used, and their measurement was based on a principle: air is drawn through a size selective inlet and it was entering, and the particulates, they were going settle down on a filter paper, and initial weight and final filter weight, it was taken using a weight balance, and accordingly the concentration of the particulate was calculated. Nowadays we have switched to the more. You can simply install an instrument and you can get the value. Now please, next slide. The other instrument, that is continuous emission monitoring system. There are several aerosol spectrometer. The value, you can store the data. There is no need to take the initial weight of the filter paper, final weight of the filter paper. You can simply get the value. You can adjust accordingly, according to the need, the time interval, and you will get the value. This is the added advantage of these online instruments, this technology, and these are also handy sampler. No need to carry those hard stuff to the sampling site, whereas you can easily get the value. You can start these instruments. These have the charging facility as well. There are several gas samplers as well. You can easily calculate, you can easily get the value of the concentration. Earlier, there were the solution which were being used, and these were analyzed into the laboratory. And the main reason was, while transferring from that sampling site to the laboratory, the concentration value got changed. Whereas here itself, you can store the data and you can get the exact value which was there at the site. There is no change in the observed value when you are doing the sampling. Whereas while in case of the manual sampling which was being done, there are certain limitations of the manual sampling and as well as the online sampling. The advantage here is that you can get the straight away the value, the concentration. Please, next slide. So these are the major concentration of the 4 pollutants which I have chosen. 75 microgram per meter cube is the concentration of PM 2.5 and 8 are ozone.
प्रमोद आप म्यूट हो गए हो.
Ma'am, host has muted you. So here, ma'am, I need to get that Excel sheet.
Just a moment. I have to stop sharing, na?
Yes, ma'am.
So you will start sharing, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Now, can you see that Excel sheet?
Can't see your Excel sheet, only PPT is showing.
Only it is showing the PPT. So what I'll do, I'll share that Excel sheet.
Just share that Excel sheet, not PPT.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
So the problem which was there, we have calculated the PM 2.5 value as to be 75. Now we have to find out, this is the formula, this one. Okay. Now you have to tell the value. First, we need to know the BP high, breakpoint high concentration. What is the value corresponding to the 75 microgram constitution? Which table we need to know? Which column? 75 is lying between
65.
65.5 and 150.4. So
Yes.
the BPI is the breakpoint high concentration. It would be 150.5
Yes.
and,
Yes. BP
and
low
BP low
is
would be
65.5.
Yes. Now, accordingly, the corresponding AQI value, that is the I high and I low. What is that? What would be the I high?
200.
Yes, 200. And what would be the I low?
151.
151. So we have obtained this. Now we need to calculate through this formula. Initially, I high minus I low. Excel has got the very important feature. You can design the software. So before giving any formula, you need to first write equal to, then I high value, you will choose this one, again minus I low, minus sign, and then I low. This is the value, this is the formula which I have selected, and press enter. Automatically it will give the value 49. Now the next parameter is downward, BP high minus BP low. Again equal to, the concentration is BP high minus this BP low. So the third value I have broken down into the several categories so that you can clearly understand. CP minus BP low. So CP value is this one, pollutant concentration, which we have already measured through the instrument, minus BP low. BP low
65.5.
65.5. Okay. Now this, the entire thing, I high minus I low divided by the BP high minus BP low, equal to this one. By is the sign which is used for the division. Then again press enter. The value has come here. Now coming on to this, we have calculated this entire thing. Now we have to multiply this value with the CP minus BP low, again equal to this measured concentration, and here asterisk for the multiplication. Now BP low, this one,
BP low is 65.5.
CP minus BP low, this one 85.
And CP is, yeah,
This one is I high minus I low, BP high minus BP low, this value, multiply by CP by minus this one. So this would be this, multiply by
this.
this,
Huh.
this value.
Yes.
Now the formula total ILO we have to add,
Yeah.
equal to, this one is L plus D. L means this value plus D is the this one. So the AQI value which is corresponding to this one is 151. The
Pramod,
AQI
there
value
is Pramod, there is one question.
yes.
Like it is mentioned here 15.4, 40.4. So why students are asking why it's 4, not 5.5?
This is the breakpoint. This is the standard table which EPA has designed. The reason being, this we have not taken. We are taking into account the value, the table. So the value which we have chosen, if suppose this is the one PM 2.5.
No, they are asking why this is only 150.4. Why not it's 150.5?
150.5. This is the formula. This is the value which was developed after doing several experiments, and they have arrived to this conclusion. So you know, the best fit, the
Best
best
fit, yes.
representative answer which you can get. The best representative answer which you can get is by the value. So
Yes.
this is the stated. This is the authentic value which they have selected. ठीक है?
Yes,
So
girls,
again,
it can be 0.429. It can be, तो इसलिए यहाँ पर सिर्फ 4 को लिया गया है.
yes, they have chosen.
Cannot
Reason
be
being,
5.
if we are taking 0.5, 0.5 से क्या होता है? Mathematical terms में it gets shifted to
So much changes, yes.
other change. जैसे 150.4 को 150.5 if you are going to take, it will automatically change to 151. अगर 0.5 हो जाता है तो एक डेसिमल से उधर चले जाता है. The round figure which you are going to do. लेकिन
Yes.
150.4 है तो the value will remain same. It will not be, क्योंकि Excel which you are using उसके अंदर क्या है? When it goes more than up to 0.5 or more than 5, automatically when you are going to do the round figure, it will change. ठीक है? So again, I am checking this one. I high minus I low is 49.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
हाँ जी बेटा.
हाँ.
Excuse me, sir. She was saying that BP high value should be 150.4.
Yes.
But you have written 150.5.
Oh, okay. Oh, वहाँ पे wrong mistake.
Okay.
That was the
अच्छा
problem.
अच्छा अच्छा नहीं वो value there is a typological error. That's why I am checking again.
Yes, sir.
The one it should be 150. Again we are checking. The value is CP
That's why she
75.
was saying.
Okay. नहीं वो तो ठीक है. I think वो देखा नहीं है वहाँ पे, but there is typological error.
Yes.
So-
Yes.
So 150.4, 65.5, it's correct. Then I high is 200, and this one is 151. Fine. Then I high minus I low.
I high 200.
49. Then BP high minus BP low. This one minus BP low.
Minus this
BP low. Then
CP minus
CP
75
minus BP low. This one.
5.5.
Okay. Then this one.
Yeah.
I high minus I low divided by BP high minus BP low.
Yes.
Then again this one is I high minus I low. This value multiply by CP minus BP low. This one.
Yes.
So this is the AQI value. Manually also you can calculate. So I would ask you to please calculate manually the concentration of ozone. Now the measured concentration is 0.08753. So ozone table which we have to see is 0.08753. किस column में आएगा? What would be the BPI value?
Third column है.
Third column, this one. So the
Yes.
BPI value would be
BP high is 0.104.
yes. BPI is 0.104 and BP low is
0.085.
0.085.
बस
Now,
आप चैट बॉक्स में लिखते रहिए, हम देखते
हाँ.
रहेंगे आप पढ़ रहे हैं कि नहीं, समझ रहे हैं
हाँ.
कि नहीं.
Corresponding value, ma'am, I cannot access that chat box. You can please.
I am just looking at the chat box.
What will be the I high corresponding to this? I high.
Girls मैसेज करिए चैट बॉक्स में. What will be the I high?
I high. Here we
मुझे
have
तो पता
taken
है, आप
this.
भी बताइए. Girls, just put the value. I think it's 150, girls. Am I right? Yes, 150.
150 and
I low 101. Good.
101. Okay. Now you calculate manually and we'll see what the result comes. Who gets the exact right answer of the AQI value?
आप कैलकुलेट करके बताना बच्चों. Dear participant, you can also do calculation on your sheet manually and you can tell us the answer.
Likewise, for PM 10, we have the value 135. So what would be the corresponding BP high value? We have to see here 135 is lying in which column? 135 would be in
Second row.
second row, yes. So BP high would be
154,
yes 154 and BP low
55,
55. Yes, and the corresponding I high value.
100. Right, Bhumi?
Yes, then
51. Good, Bhumi.
51. Okay. Likewise, just check the value for the sulfur dioxide. 0.02168.
021.
Which one?
So, first line.
0.02168. No,
First line. First line.
not first line.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry. First ही होगी, I think. Second one is 03, na?
02. Okay.
Yes. First line.
02. This one. So what would be the BP high?
Yes. BP high, girls. What is the BP high? Anyone, please? Yes. 0.034. Right, Bhumi?
034. And BP low?
BP low? 0. Right. Right,
0.
Bhumi?
And the corresponding
I
I high?
high. I high. The last row में देखो बच्चों, हाँ 50.
50.
Good.
And this
I
one?
low. I low. 0.
Yes.
Good.
So this is the value. Now, in Excel, if you have once given the formula, so what you can do, you simply have to stretch. It will give the answer. Can anybody have, anybody has calculated the value of ozone? Has anybody calculated the value for the ozone parameter?
Yes, Dr. Achal Garg has written 107.52
107.52.
AQI.
So, exact, what would be the exact value? Because it's not in decimal. Exact terms, man.
108.
Okay, now we are just going to check this formula which we have already given. Again, we are just simply stretching.
Yes.
You can just see the changes and the exact value will come now. Yes, it's 107.52474. This is the method by
108.
which you can design your own software. Beta, ये value पता लगी. Now you just have a check. PM10 का which we have to calculate. The measured concentration is 135. So this is the software which I have prepared. Now the concentration was 135. ये ध्यान रखना. 135 in that software. Here you simply have to put the value. 135 कहाँ पे आएगा? Which column? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which serial number? I should put 135. In which column should I put 135?
I think second line.
Second line. Second
Because
line means
BP high is 154.
154. The value is 135. Yes. 135. So all the concentration are given. What you have to do? Simply stretch and the value of AQI will be 91. See. The value of AQI would be 91. So अब यहाँ पे check करते हैं again. We are again stretching. The value is coming to be 91. Initially, when we were doing the calculations, in order to have the better understanding, we have done this. So accordingly, you can design your software for PM10. Concentration pata honi chahiye, and accordingly you can calculate the value of AQI. Here you will write the value and no need to put. Simply you need to identify on which serial number you have to put the value. Now the sulfur dioxide. Who will
Dr. Pramod, Bhumi Arora is asking why are entries empty like in breakpoint? There are two in same column. Yeah. Breakpoints empty. Bhumi, can you please speak what you want to ask? Just a moment. Yes, Bhumi, speak. You may speak now.
I'm like in breakpoints O3, last two columns, it's like cube, empty like cubes, and in breakpoints NO2, in the first four columns, it's like square.
The reason for that ozone is that values, ozone values, they do not define higher AQI values which are greater than 300. This is the again it's visible slide. No.
Slide not visible.
Slide not visible. अब slide के अंदर this was the things which were given there. Just a second.
You can reshare your slide.
So the reason which was already given there, why these values are empty here. You can just read from there.
8-hour ozone value do not define higher AQI value.
8-hour ozone values do not define higher AQI values which are greater than 301. AQI values of 301 or higher are calculated with 1 hour ozone concentration. So this is the reason why the value is blank there. This is given. So in order to calculate, I have not mentioned here in that. Okay. Now you have to calculate the concentration of the fourth parameter. Tell me the value. It is visible.
SO2,
SO2.
yes.
SO2.
Yes. So we have
Now
to
let me
find
know
in between 0.02168, right?
who is going to give the answer first.
Anyone? Please mention in the chat box.
The value which you are going to obtain. We have 50 and all.
What will be the answer for this? SO2, AQI? Anyone calculated? Please put in the chat box.
The value which you are going to obtain after doing the calculations for the sulfur dioxide. The major concentration of sulfur dioxide is 0.02168 ppm. You have to give the value. Tell me.
Yes, please. Anyone? प्रमोद आप ही बता दीजिए. Dr. Pramod. I think no one is able to get the answer.
So again, we are just going to stretch so that we can arrive to the value. Now the answer 32. 32 is the air quality index value of the ozone. So 0.02168, that sulfur dioxide. 0.02168 यहाँ पे था ना? 0.02168. It is coming to be the value उसमें दूसरी है. So 32 is the air quality index value for the. Now you tell me which you can give any concentration, and accordingly air quality index value will be calculated for PM 2.5, PM 10. This is the software for the PM 2.5, PM 10. You simply have to put the value and you will get the answer. Any value. But that should be within the range जो हमारा है. Keep in mind that thing as well.
Yeah, there is a question, Dr.
Yes.
Pramod.
Yes, ma'am.
During November month, average concentration of PM 2.5 in Delhi was approx 250 microgram per meter
250.
cube. Yes.
250. So by simply looking at the value, 250 is in which range? Tell me the serial number. 250 किसमें आएगा? In which number?
Yes. Fifth. Someone has answered fifth.
250. AQI value was 300. Means the value was not good at all. अभी मैंने आपको बताया भी था कि नवंबर मंथ is considered to be the devil November. Devil November कहते हैं दिल्ली में, when we consider the case of Delhi. And reasons you already know: episodic events, winter conditions, calm conditions, stable atmosphere, pollutants. These are released into the atmosphere and they remain suspended there. ठीक है बेटा? The value which we have obtained for the pollutant concentration 250 is 300 AQI. This is the way by which we can devise the software for calculating the AQI for various parameters. Uzma ma'am, you can
Yes,
please
yes.
share my slide. Only one slide is left. So what
Okay,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
do? What we can
Just a moment. Just a moment.
do? Okay, ma'am.
This is what?
Yes. Now
Okay.
what we can do? I think we should not only depend on the government. कि government ही करेगी, हमें कुछ नहीं करना. Everything should be taken care of by the government. This should not be the thinking. And we as citizens must do our bit to battle the problem. After all, it is us, our children, whose health is being affected. Government is also part of us. We can start with small acts like planting trees on birthdays and other special occasions, getting our vehicles checked regularly for pollution, using public transportation more. Tell your friends and family about the pollution. Encourage your parents to carpool to work. Switch off lights, fan, heat, etc. when you leave the room and when there is no use. Save water, save electricity, and try to buy eco-friendly supplies. Start volunteering. This you can do. You can make an impact on the environment by getting involved with local charities and assisting the community. Think global and act local. When you will take into account, automatically you will be able to bring a significant change to the society and overall improving the quality of air. That's all, ma'am. Please, last slide.
Just a moment.
Thank you. If you have any sort of query, you can mail me to these email IDs.
Just a moment. There are some issue. Yeah. So the email ID is mentioned in this PPT. Last
Yes.
slide. You may contact sir if you want to ask any more question.
Related to air pollution, not only restricted to this specific area of air quality index. If you have any sort of query in air pollution, you can reach me on these email IDs. Thank you. That's all from my side. And I would like to thank the organizers for organizing this workshop for calculating air quality index. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod. Our principal ma'am has joined. So now I'd like to invite our respected principal ma'am, Dr. Harpreet Kaur, to say a few words. Ma'am, over to you.
Hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I don't have much to say, but I was actually in another meeting. But of course, I understand today's topic is very new and it is very important also. So calculating this air quality index, I think we have never had a lecture on this. So I really thank Mr. Deep and the speaker for today that he has explained at length that how to calculate also, and he also outlined your own duty that we really, now the stage has come, we really cannot depend just on the nation and pass the buck on others कि उसकी वजह से pollution हो रहा है या ये, so on. It is your own responsibility. Take your responsibility into consideration, because sustainability will come only when we are when we actually think about it, when we act on it. So it is very important that we have to change our lifestyle, and we have seen that how this when the air quality deteriorates, what can be the impact, how much impact can be there on the health. So we have to understand that we should not harm our health, and moreover of the coming generations. So understand your responsibility. The youth should come forward for more greenery and sustaining the environment, reducing your own needs. I think optimal utilization of anything, whether it is electricity, like has been explained, that you switch off the light. These are very simple things and measures we have been explaining to you right from the very beginnings. You have read this in school also, but we don't. When we come to practice, we just forget. We step out of our classroom, and even though I am the last person, I will not switch off the light because it is a public property, because somebody else will come and do it. No, don't do that. Understand your own responsibility. If someone maybe because the watchman will come only later, and then maybe after 1 or 2 hours, and switch off the light. So if you are coming out of the room, try to understand that it is your duty, that you must switch off. So these are very simple things. Even if one day you decide, one student in class does this, that I will walk out the last and I will do this thing. I think, the small things are going to matter quite a lot. And so all these measures are important. Understand it. And you must say that you must, understand always that these are the things, and you must always follow it, because everyone's effort really matters. In your efforts will never go waste. You will understand that a lot of differences will come when these kind of things are being practiced by all. So this workshop is just to explain to you that how air quality impacts. And Dr. Pramod Kumar has actually worked quite a lot in the field, and he has really explained very well that how how this air quality index, and how driving, if we are just pulling in and all, how these small measures are going to make big impacts. So let us be the change, and let the change come amongst you, and of course be the driving forces for the nature and sustainability. I think that is our foremost duty. So I congratulate again Dr. Kamlesh Kaur, first of all, who's the coordinator of EVS department, and Uzma, who is coordinating this event, and also, of course, other faculty members. And then, of course, we have the whole student body, Ishika, Jasjo, Joya, and Jigyasa, because our students also work quite a lot for these activities. And that is why, we give a platform to our students to conduct activities so that they are confident. So once again, congratulations to the students who have done a very successful event. And of course, once again, I thank Mr. Pramod, Dr. Pramod, for explaining to us. And so thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Kamlesh Kaur, ma'am, for the concluding remarks. Kamlesh, ma'am, over to you. Ma'am, can you please unmute yourself?
Very brilliant presentation.
Ma'am, please switch on your video.
Okay.
Yes.
Very brilliant and insightful presentation, Pramod sir. Content was excellent and very, very professional. And it was with the examples. Students really participated, teachers really participated. They really make the calculations. I think everybody was practically involved in the total presentation. And I think it was great to invite you for presentation of this lecture. And I'm very thankful to you. You really awakened us and our students to take care of the environment ourselves. You told the students that it is not responsibility of only the authorities and of the government. The students have to take care. We all have to be responsible about the light, about the other environmental factors. And I'm thankful to you. And thank you, sir, for your very, very good presentation. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Prabhat Kashyap for the vote of thanks. Prabhat, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Just a minute. A very good evening, all of you present here on this online workshop on calculating air quality index of an urban location of Delhi. As we all aware that air pollution is now one of the biggest threat nowadays. Each year, around 7 million people die because of unhealthy air they breathe. But the problem here is most of us, we don't have access to timely air quality information. And more often, air pollution goes unnoticed. So air quality index is the tool that can that inform us as the current ambient air quality. And Pramod sir has explained it very well, what exactly AQI is and how we can calculate the AQI for a particular location, for example, Delhi. And sir, I'm really very thankful to you for such a wonderful presentation and explain everything in a very simple method. Now I would like to thank our Honorable Principal Ma'am, Professor Harpreet Kaur Ma'am, for her continuous support, guidance, and encouragement. I extend my warm thanks to Dr. Kamlesh Kaur Ma'am, who is the course coordinator of Department of Environmental Sciences, Mata Sundari College, for motivation and guidance. I extend my warm thanks to Dr. Uzma Nadeem Ma'am for her effort to make this event successful. And we have been fortunate enough to backed up by a team of a very proactive and dedicated member of our Earthcon Society. Thank you, Earthcon Society as well. At last, I wish to thank all my colleagues, participant, audience, and dear students for being the enthusiastic listeners. Once again, thank everyone, those who are the part of this event, directly or indirectly involved in it. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Osman.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhat Kashyap. So now we are closing this session. Before leaving this session, please fill that feedback form, which already shared by Ekisha in this chat box of Zoom. So please fill that form.
Usman, can I leave now?
Yes, Dr. Pramod, you may leave.
I would also like to thank all Principal Ma'am, Kamlesh Ma'am, Dr. Uzma, and the entire organizing team for inviting me for this workshop. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod.
Thank you, Pramod.